circles as well. I don't think many teams can complain. I know there were some earlier grievances from a few, but now we've got so deep into these championships, teams cannot have any excuses. And for those who are just outside of match point, it's very difficult now to try and track that kill feed, to try and work out who's where, who's still alive. So you kind of just have to focus on yourself, focus on getting match point, and then maybe think about trying to grief teams when you see them in the kill feed.
That's going to be tough. Half the lobby, pretty much, is now on match point. Anyone could win at this point with the level that people have been playing at. But I want to give out to a huge shout out to the team that is on our screen right now. One of the most insane calls for rotation. One of the most confident team fights we've ever seen in Apex Legends. I mean, these guys, Cloud9, have been absolutely superb. And joining them, of course, in that final battle was TSM, who you can see on your screens right now. But it was Sentinels, of course, who played Spoiler. The team who have struggled to win games, like you mentioned, winning when TSM fans, when Cloud9 fans, couldn't have asked for anything worse.
Well, do you want some good news if you're a TSM fan? I can see the circle. And do you know what? Slap bang in the middle? Fragment. And it's going to be TSM right in the perfect spot right now. They couldn't have asked for a better zone, a better circle. I'm sure when Snipedown scanned that beacon, they were thinking, okay, maybe this is the one. But who's right next door to them? Cloud9. This gets very, very scary.
Let's give you a list of the teams then that is on match point to keep an eye out for. Cloud9 and TSM, we've talked about them. ESA Black, what a performance from them. They are on match point. Guess who is joining them? The spoilers, the bad guys. It is Sentinels. They have joined them on match point as well. Space Station, still on match point. Alpine on match point. Letter E and Bottom 20 on match point. But I think scariest thing for this lobby right now, for those 8 teams, who is the team who is right behind them, who has struggled all day today, who hasn't managed to get onto match point? Well, they only need 1 point to join that collective. That is NRG.
So interestingly here, TSM pushing out of zone ever so slightly and moving towards Vault. And now they would have had beacon information. They will know where that circle is going to be going. And it looks like they're thinking they would rather play on the edge here. Perhaps feel like they might be a little bit too, I don't know, targeted, congested when it comes to Fragment East. Or they think this circle is going to be pulling towards this Vault area.
Going to be an interesting one for sure. Or is it a case of they're quite happy to hold teams out inside of that tunnel? They don't have to worry about multiple teams moving in on them. They don't have to worry about the stacked up buildings that we see inside of Fragment. They want to kind of play a quiet game. They want to play their own game. And of course, TSM would have learned from one of our earlier games today where we had a Fragment zone, when we saw that carnage towards the end, where TSM were involved in that top 6. But at this point, Dan, and everyone at home who's watching, top 6 quite simply isn't good enough.
And just to correct myself, I mean, TSM actually didn't have a beacon on their drop. They won't have that information. It is pulling all the way to Fragment. So instead, they're probably hedging their bets. They're pushing out. They're looting up a little bit more. And they're moving a little bit towards Geyser.
ESA Black then. They're currently still on their loot path. One of the teams, what a performance it's been from these gentlemen, by the way. 6 Metro to go and Pandas. My hat is taken off to you. What a day you have had, and what an underdog story it would be if they managed to close things out now. Sentinels. We've talked about how they've struggled in endgame. We've talked about the statistics. Only a 9% conversion rate of top 10 to wins in the group stage. But who cares about those statistics, Dan? If they manage to win this game, get onto match point, and most importantly, win the most important game of their careers.
And the amount of teams we've seen try this kind of Gibby, Caustic, Valkyrie comp when it comes to trying to win a game, surely someone's going to be able to actually achieve a victory with it, and maybe it would be Sentinels, which would just be mind-blowing really when you consider it that they just weren't able to pull out as many victories from top 10s as other teams in this lobby. But if they can clutch up when the moment comes, then all credit to them, and I'm a big fan.
Bottom 20 now moving into the bottom of this building. You can see they're going to be greeted by a few grenades. This is another one of our teams who's on match point. You're going to hear a lot from that from me in these next few moments. A lot of teams, 8 of them in total, fighting it out for that one place that's available, that one team that can win, that can take it all home. And just a reminder, over $250,000 will go to the winners here. It is not a situation to be shirked at as Alpine, another team, surprise, surprise, on match point.
And we're all talking about winners, right? And whilst, of course, we want a champion and the winner is who is remembered, there is a lot of prize money for second, third, fourth, and it drops considerably from each placement. There is a big chunk of difference between second and third, for example. I think around 40 to 50 grand. And that means you've got to at least be thinking about kills. You've got to be thinking about placement as well. It's all well and good getting focused on trying to get that victory. But if you drop down that leaderboard, suddenly you're not going to be having as much money if you don't find that victory. So it is something that will be in the back of the minds of all of these players.
Well, shout out to the observing team for saving my breath for a few moments, because all the teams that we're seeing right now, they're all on match point. Just note them down as we cycle through. Cloud9, one of the craziest games I've seen from a team in Apex in that last game. The way that they rotated, the way they took those fights is absolutely exemplary, and if they would have closed it out there, it would have been the performance that deserved a championship. But for now, they're going to have to go again. They're going to have to fight again. They're going to have to dig deep into the reserves, into those emotional reserves, into those physical reserves. It's going to be tiring for these players right now, but they need to find that little bit extra just to push them over the edge.
Their consistency is insane. Like, ever since, Game 5, they finished 4th, then 1st, then 2nd, then 3rd. But they just can't quite get that first place again as G2 now will push on. And it's going to be on to Team Liquid, and Liquid go down and will be the first team eliminated out of this lobby.
Yeah, Liquid not had a good day so far. G2 needs 6 points to join our other teams on match point. So that's their focus right now. They're not too bothered about anything else going on in the lobby. If they can take one of the match point teams out, fantastic. That's an added bonus for them, but they're kind of hoping they take each other out. But this is an interesting fight right now. The team that Xenox is trying to focus on just over that rock, that is NRG. 18 is going to hit with a charge rifle as well, just to do a little bit of damage. You can see Retsy's going sniffing right now. He's thinking maybe I can have a little bit of a poke, maybe I can get a knock, but being called back by himself because he's the IGL. That's how long we've been casting right now. He's going to back up smartly to the rest of his team as we jump on board now with SSG.
And we thought that NRG were going to continue their dominance, right? That they were going to march on through, get to match point in a few games, and maybe have one of the quickest victories in Apex history. But it hasn't been that day for them. They're 1 point off of match point, so they need to try and stop 8 other teams from winning everything here. But TSM, they didn't have the beacon, they didn't have the knowledge of where that circle was going, but they will have that knowledge now. And I want to see how they move in here. Where are they going to decide to play? They'll probably be a little bit frustrated. They've moved away from their drop spot, but at the same time, at least they've secured a little bit more loot at the very least, and they can hold out teams from Geyser. Yeah,
they've just got to hold out this one team from Geyser that's kind of playing between the two chokes at the moment. They will have to move in, of course, in around 2 minutes and 25 seconds. So it might be TSM that get pushed, it might be Sentinels, or it might be a different rotation taken by that team. So TSM will be safe inside that next zone. You can see that right now. The exit to the Vault Tunnel is going to be good. At the moment, the only thing they're concerned about is making sure that their backs are clear.
And this next circle pull is going to be a big one for TSM. They want it to pull slightly south of Fragment, and that will allow them then to just kind of work on the edge of where they currently reside. But NRG are pretty much slap bang in the middle right now. If they've got some kind of hills to hide behind, some rocks to work with, they could be a real nuisance to all of these teams that are trying to rotate in and trying to find the god spot for this endgame. Sentinels also in a pretty nice position where they are. They can hold that choke, they can shoot down, they have high ground. As long as they don't get pushed by 2 teams at the same time, this charge rifle could be absolutely devastating to those trying to rotate in.
Caustic's such a good legend to use to hold those chokes as well. If you just saw the map overhead for a few seconds, many barrels covering their back and making sure that no one can approach without them being aware. TSM now is trying to move up a little bit here. You can see they're going to move towards this no-name, into Respawn Town, whatever you want to call it. TSM are calling it home for now. Nobody else really in the vicinity. And Hao's just trying to scan this out at the moment, trying to do what he does best, scout out their next move, and then plan out the next move after that. It's a game of chess here for these teams. And if you're playing checkers, unfortunately, it's not going to be good enough.
A lot of our match point teams are in Fragment East. You've got TSM as well, just in no-name. NRG aren't on match point, but they are in a decent position. You've got Sentinels are on that choke, and CLG having a little bit of a scuffle in the bubble, but a couple of players go down, and then we're going to see the back off just to ensure they can heal up. But Stompies is going to fall, and that's going to be another player going down.
Vaxxon and Madness survive. CLG make their way into the West Fragment buildings, and they make their way into one of the most populated areas that you will see towards the end game as well. Farmer Lucas, you can see there, just scarpering away from the pit and managing to survive. Might actually be able to get his teammate back into the game. C9 now, you can see their move from West Fragment, to East Fragment. They've managed to find themselves somewhere to play. But Alpine Esports, I mean, what a story this has been for these three gentlemen as well. Urice, everybody knows him, everybody loves him. Hill, one of the biggest grinders that you will see in the Apex scene. And of course, RKN, a big character himself. But here comes TSM. They want to take this building. I love the way that they're playing this. They're playing it like any other game of Apex.
Yeah, they just want to be aggressive, win this fight, and try and take this building. Assert a little bit of dominance, but actually, suddenly, the retreat order is called. They don't feel like pushing in the end. They didn't do enough damage with the grenade, so they back off. If one of those arc stars had hit, that might have been an entirely different push. But for now, they say, look, let's calm down and reassess.
That team is going to leave the building after that pressure, and TSM are going to move up and might be able to actually catch them on that rotation. ESA Black, they're currently playing right on the edge of zone, and they have a very, very tough move to make. However, Pandas on Valkyrie is going to have the opportunity to propel them over that mountain range and find somewhere to play if they decide to do that. If there's no other option that looks safe for them to do so, we'll see that circle pull as well, and look at that. It looks like it's ending around where we saw that epic fight in the last game, where C9 were involved. The first fight they took around the blue bins just to the south of Fragment.
Yeah, this is going to be a big pull, I think, for Sentinels. I think they're going to be really happy with where Circle's going, but you can also see Pandas and the rest of the boys in a pretty good spot right now, but Renegade's going to be a real nuisance to them, and eventually they're going to have to push up that hill into Sentinels. But it's a case of, are they going to both push at the same time? They're going to have a little scuffle that Sentinels can then try and third party a little bit, but Sentinels won't want to be giving up their position, so ESA Black are in a good spot, but at the same time a tough one.
Oh, Clarify has to be careful here. The Gibby manages to get the bobble down as SSG now make their play. They're going to try and play under these tracks. Can be a good spot to play. However, you can see from certain angles, they're going to be able to get focus from Fragment, also from Respawn Town. So they're going to be very, very careful about where they poke, where they prod, and what teams can get focused onto them.
Yeah, they are just going to hold under this bridge, and quite often the circle will pull south of where this bridge is, but for now it is a fantastic position just to hold down. It's going to be very difficult for teams to try and int on them because there's a lot of open ground between them and the teams that are in the buildings, so I think they should be okay for now, Space Station Gaming.
19 squads still remain in this lobby. And one little reminder to you, 8 of them could win it all right now in this game. 9 games of Apex. And what a 9 games it's been. Nice shots coming in from Zenial here with the G7 Scout, just doing some damage onto that team inside the building, which is going to be letter E. No surprise for me to say. Guess what I'm going to say, Dan? Team on match point.
Something about the alphabet? No, I don't know. You just confused me.
Not on the
Usually
same
you go
page.
with mathematics, alphabet, no. But they are on match point, and as well as 7 other teams, so I'll do the maths for you as well. And a lot of these teams are in Fragment, and that is a pretty scary thing when you think about if they all have to rotate at the same time to this kind of open ground. It's going to be pretty much carnage unfolding with all teams just desperately trying to scatter their way into the next circle, but at the same time doing damage where they can to try and deplete the resources of other teams.
Alpine Esports, they made the early rotation. They sacrificed some loot to make sure that they were in this building as quick as possible. The zipline building right in the middle of Fragment East, and it looks like that pull away has really scuppered what might be their chances of taking things home. However, never say never. That's one thing I've learned today. It's never count anyone out at any point in Apex Legends. These teams and these players, they are that insane that anything could turn into a win.
Next circle's going to be closing, and I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4 teams just outside of zone right now. So we might drop into 15, and suddenly teams will be achieving that 1 point from placement, and that's important for not just those trying to get to match point, but also for those trying to get higher in the rankings for a little bit more prize money. As ESA Black are going to have to make their way in, and it's going to be a Valkyrie ultimate jetting them up into the sky. But where do they go, and do they survive? Pandas so low!
He goes down! This is massive! They tried to make that rotation. They had no other choice. Pandas goes down. Metro goes down as well. 6. Do you have a miracle in the back pocket? Unfortunately, it's not looking like it is. It might be our first team eliminated here on match point, unless he can pull off something absolutely incredible.
I mean, at the very least, there's a respawn beacon right there. If you can get a player up, if you can get the banner, then maybe, just maybe, there is a possibility that you can try and stay alive here. But Renegades are going to be more than happy to push on this, which they will. Six has to go huge, he does not. And our first team on match point is wiped. And it was Renegades just applying the pressure there as soon as they sense weakness after taking that Valkyrie out of the sky. That's always the risk that you play when going with Valk, as you see the circle there. And Sentinels in the best position in the map right now.
Absolutely unbelievable. Sentinels have played this to a T. All they have to worry about is the teams behind them right now. They do have those caustic traps down as well, which is going to give them a little bit of advantage as well as the height that they do have. And just keep in mind right now, there's two teams behind them. Neither of those teams are going to be able to rotate unless they have Valkyrie. They're going to have to go through each other, which gives Sentinels a wonderful opportunity to third party and completely clear out the southern side of World's Edge, just leaving them to focus on all of these teams now who are fighting in Fragment. And just outside of it, two of those teams are looking each other in the eyes right now. One of them, TSM, another, Cloud9.
Well, they've already come so close, Cloud9 and TSM, to winning a game. They both got to the last three. They were denied by Sentinels, and it could be Sentinels actually picking up the victory here. Reps very, very low. Imperial Howl trying to pop over back. He does get it off. TSM just doing what they can to survive right now.
Damage is coming in and Reps will go down, and it's up to Snipe down now. He gets one, but TSM eliminated by Cloud9. They want this more than anyone, you feel, at the moment. Coming so close in that last game. Coming so close in the game before. C9 take out TSM.
This is perfect for Sentinels. All these teams in Fragment are just going to wipe each other as they approach this next zone. And Sentinels just have to hold out those teams that were to the south. Letter E will jet themselves up into the sky. And maybe they'll be the first team to challenge Sentinels for this spot. This could be a very important fight if they decide to take it.
I think it's going to be a very important landing before they get to the fighting part. If they found somewhere to play here, it would be massive. But you can see Davis is going to be taken down. They will pop the bubble, which is going to allow them to reset. But look at SSG. This is the spot I was talking about. Yes, Sentinels. They look fantastic right now. Cloud9 not looking fantastic, though. Zach May's the last player alive for them. He's down to around 20 HP. He's going to use those knockdown shields to try and survive for a few more moments. But it's looking like the end for C9. They are out of game number 9.
That's another team on match point out, and we're on to another one who could potentially win this. Alpine still trying to make their way in. They have found a little space to work with. They do have some rocks to play with as well, but it's NRG on the other side, but a slightly weakened NRG. Just two of them, and I feel like if Alpine recognize this, they will push on it. They will try and take one of these squads down.
Can't afford to force it, though, because there is another team just behind, you can see. And they're doing most of the damage, and they are actually going to finish one of those kills. Rocket gets knocked, and it's going to be 1 on 20, I think, that actually were involved in that, as Euris now is going to relocate. What a story this would be. Alpine, who had to make such a tough rotation out of Fragment East to find themselves in the position they are right now, but they are in that position. Space Station, inside of those blue crates that I mentioned. Sentinels still holding down that choke, and Alpine now making that rotation, and they're taking a fight here.
But half the teams in the lobby are still on match point here, and we're down to 6, and it's going to be more than half. SSG coming to do damage. Alpine eliminated. SSG assert their dominance. They also want to have a shot here at over $250,000. But where are Sentinels during all this? Have they managed to avoid all of this confrontation as they sit pretty and wait? Yes, they have. They still hold center circle. So we have several teams here on match point still alive on set.
And then there were 5. A moment of calm here on World's Edge, and they have been few and far between over the 9 games of Apex Legends that have gone down today. You've seen some of the craziest plays, you've seen some of the biggest clutches, and you have seen these players and teams leave absolutely everything on the battlefield. Sentinels still holding this choke. This is the moment for them. If they can hold out this team that's trying to rotate behind them, they have a chance to win it all.
And it's ESA Red and Renegades, the two teams that aren't on match point that can spoil the party here, as we're on board with Renegades as they make their way in, and they have to push Sentinels. They've been in prime position for so long, as elsewhere, SSG also getting involved in a fight. Retsy's gone down elsewhere. Sentinels are being pushed right now. Renegades are doing a job on Sentinels. This is perfect for SSG.
Sentinels are out! Sentinels have gone! That means that SSG now, who have had this position for so long, have the chance to crown themselves a champion. What a moment this could be. Renegades overlooking everything. What a play from them. Bottom 20,
Bottom 20 as well.
Still involved as well, and what a story that would be.
Bottom 20, SSG, they have the chance to win the competition here, become your North American champions, but Renegades can spoil it all and take it to a Game 10 and arguably have one of the best positions right now. They've got all of the loot and they can push on and look on these teams with a head glitch. But a real question is on set, who's going to be the last one to enter the fight? Who can be that third party?
Renegades have to try and force these two teams to fight. I don't know how they're going to do it, but they have to try and get them to engage and then be that third party. Whether it's an ultimate that's going to force them towards each other from Gibraltar, that might be the play. Whether it's damage being initiated, which forces one team to think, hey, we can pick up these kills and maybe take the position from SSG. Well, it all comes down to this. The zone is moving. And all of these three teams have a chance to do something special. Two of them to win it all down and one of them to play spoiler.
Oh, nice cracks there coming from the grenades. Big grenades from bottom 20. This is where you need to clutch up as an individual. This is where you need to hit your shots if you want to call yourself a champion, if you want to lift a trophy above your head. Renegades being slightly focused here, but they've done so much damage. Can they spoil the party?
Oh, and it looks like they might. I tell you, SSG, they lose one, but here comes bottom 20. They're coming in on the third party right now. Sorcerer has to bring out the Eva 8. Space Station were not taken down. And at the moment, it's a game of peekaboo. And it looks like the move has been made now for Renegades to move in. They will be able to reset here, but no! Here comes bottom 20. What a story it would be. It's all down to Pow Pow. Can he get it done for Renegades? Bottom 20 will be the champions. Bottom 20 will be the ALGS Championship winners. Bottom 20, rename yourself right now to top 1.
Say it louder for the people in the back. Who would have thought bottom 20 would be your champions? And they played that final circle perfectly. Utility was there. Renegades were just such a nuisance to both teams, but they just waited, did Kungarna and bottom 20. They threw their grenades, they used their utility.